Well, hello there, and this is Auntie, and I am come out here to do a brief review on Married at First Sight, season 6, episode 5, Honeymoon Part 2. If this is your first time being here, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And to all of my new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and being part of the family. And to all of my nieces and nephews, thank you so much for being here. We're going to go ahead on and get into this review, and I'm not going to do it detail by detail. I'm going to just do it real quick, get on out here and hit it and quit it, okay? Like they about to do. Okay, so anyway, we open up this episode at the same place that we left off last week. Jephte has basically told his boo, you're a stranger danger. And she wakes up the next morning and she prepares breakfast for him, or at least has it brought in from room service, and he's just dry. He says that he is attracted to her, but I just don't know how attracted he is to her, because when you look at the way that he looks at her, he doesn't look like a man who's infatuated, attracted, or anything to his woman. Go figure. So anyway, they go, and they talk to the doctor. And he asked them, how's everything going? And she said, well, I don't know how it's going, because basically, my husband is still calling me a stranger. He goes in to say that he wants things to move slow and he doesn't want it to be um, a fast pace, that she is a stranger to him. And the doctor basically tells him, look, get over it, Negro. It's time for you to grow up and to realize that she needs to feel wanted. Jephte and his boo have been sleeping in totally separate rooms. Like, where they do that at? Where they do that at? I really believe that his perfect match was Molly. Molly and Jephte are both moving at this thing at a snail's pace. You take the opportunity, you go through everything, and then you say you're a stranger and I'm not ready for this. He says that what he's not ready for, and how he just wants her to slow up and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm just thinking to myself, how is she gonna slow up? She's your wife. She said, I'm just usually, I just, if he doesn't show me that he cares about me, then I'm just ready to walk out the relationship. And I think that at this point, she needs to walk out the relationship. Like, I know if it was me, like, I would have been gone. Toodles, toodles, ciao, baby, whatever. So the next thing, we see Molly with, her boo, John. And I must say that he's very immature. He's nice looking, he's good on the eyes, but like right here, he don't have it. And basically, he's a kid at heart. They go, and ride out on the buggies. He sees an opportunity to splash her with muddy water. She had just told him she didn't want to be splashed with muddy water. And he rides through it anyway. She said that he's so immature to her that she finds him sexually unattractive. As good looking as this man is, and as much effort and work that he has put in his body for a woman to find him unattractive, it's like everything else he did is just like for show. Like he's one of those outfits that's in the window that you admire and you think, oh my God, how would I look in that outfit? And you go in and it's 2 sizes too big. He is just not a good fit for her. He wants to play around and make jokes and stuff, and she's really serious. She said, basically she feels like, she's the quiet one. She's the one that like is the party pooper, Debbie Downer, because he's so high strung and his energy level is very high. She can't deal with it. The next couple we see is Jaclyn Ron. Like, what? Like, he's those one of those kind of guys that just keeps saying, all this charming stuff, and you just like, oh my God, it's just like, ew. It's such a turn off. Anyway, they wake up in the morning and they, they've consummated their marriage, and they still, getting it on. Let's get it on. Oh, baby. Let's get it on. They go to the market, and they're at the market, and they're shopping. And I thought that when he was at the market, and I know a lot of you are probably going to disagree with me, and that's fine to disagree, but the way that he treated those guys at the market was just straight up disrespectful. That one of the guys told him, he was trying to barter. And there's one thing to barter, but there's another thing to disrespect somebody's work, someone's craft. And, she was like, he says things off the fly. He doesn't really think about it, and she's wondering, whether or not he's real about what he's saying, and about the, what's the, is he authentic about it? So anyway, they're at the market and they're shopping and everything, and the guy is telling him, you can get two of these for $20 plus a tip. And he's like, no, ain't no $20 plus no tip. And he ends up buying it for $25, because he added, of course, something else on. But just the way that he handled, he said, I got to keep these guys in line. It was something to that effect. And I just thought it was so disrespectful. She had asked him to come over and see what she was doing, but he was, at another stand bartering with one of the other Jamaican natives. And I understand that they may not be in the place where he is. They may not be as financially secure as he is, but every man who is out there trying to make an honest living deserves to be respected and treated with dignity. And I thought that he did not do that. He totally was ignoring her, calling him and everything, just so he could do what he wanted to do with these guys. I didn't like it at all. So anyway, I digress. So the next day, we see them, the girls meet up together and the guys meet up together. And the girls are talking about, Marley is saying, oh my God, I couldn't wait to get with you all because, I just had to talk. So all the girls want to talk, but Molly really wants to talk about the immaturity of John. And I really could not blame her for wanting to talk about it. She basically was like, he's still a stranger. And of course, our girl Shawniece is like, well, don't say that don't say that S word because my man is calling me a stranger. How am I supposed to let down my guards and really get to know him and to love him if this is how he's going to treat me? And I totally agree with her on that. Our girl Jacqueline talks about, basically that her man is saying all the right stuff. She finally told the girl she did consummate the marriage. And they seem really happy for her. But she's like, I don't know if my man is sincere or not. Like, it's too much too soon. It's a weird thing being single and then just immediately snapping and going into marriage. I think that a lot of these couples thought that they were ready for this, but they really weren't ready for it at all. And so anyway, we see Jephte, John and Agaran, and they're talking about how they feel about the women, and John is so crushed. Okay, but wait a minute, let me go back. After John and Molly came back to the hotel, they had an opportunity to talk to the therapist. And she asked them what was going on. And that's when Molly decided, okay, to tell her that she felt like he was so immature that she was unattracted to him. She went on to say that she doesn't want to have sex with somebody who acts like a 12-year-old. And she went into detail about how, he was acting like a child to her. And he was shocked because these two pride themselves off of being communicators, great communicators. Yet she never communicated this to him. And she's like a faucet to me. She's on and then she's off. But anyway, I digress. So the guys are talking, and he's so hurt and so bothered by what she said because it hurt his pride and his ego, I'm sure. And I'm sure that he probably felt like, I can't be really who I really genuinely am. And so, Jephte was like, oh, okay. He was really willing to let it go. I know that this guy said that he has Christian beliefs and all this kind of stuff, but he was the only one at the table with two drinks. But anyway, so after they did that, Ryan and John, they have this thing that where they don't really get along. And I don't know if they try to just see who's is bigger than who's. But he made a comment saying, what I would like to have, and I hope I'm saying his name right. If I'm not, I apologize in advance. Um, but he ended up saying, that, oh, so you still not working? He was like, it's only been a week. And he was like, you all can reach out to me and talk to me. And John was like, I won't talk to you. And so both of them are like, well, Jephte talk to me. No, Jephte talk to me. No, Jephte talk to me. He's the only black guy, so he doesn't have to prove, what. But anyway, he doesn't. He's not in that because these guys. He's not competing with them. He's a black guy who appears to be secure in every area but relationships. And so, he's telling them that he feels like she's a stranger and she doesn't know him. And, and John's like, you're right. So they're just really there to support each other. But the women were, really went into more detail about what was going on in the relationship and how they feel. So, we see them, basically try to have a date and they have to talk about where they're going to live. Jaclyn and Ryan, but he says, hey, I'm going to compromise with you. I'm going to come and stay with you. And then, we'll do that for a while and then I'll go, you'll come to my place. Worked out. John wants Molly to stay with him, but he has a cat. And she has allergies to cat. I do too. Oh my God. But, she's saying, well, can you compromise? Can we get another, he said, we have a one bedroom apartment and the cat likes to be on the bed. And she's like, well, I don't want the cat on the bed. Can we get a second bedroom so that, the cat is not on the bed and, woo-de-woo-de-woo. And this doesn't fly good with him. He has to be somebody else with Molly in order to make Molly comfortable. Molly says that when she's with her girlfriend, she's the goofy one. She's the life of the party. But she feels suffocated and feels like her personality has to take a back seat to his because she says he's so loud. And she tells him repeatedly how loud he is. And it's just chipping away at who he is. And if you're in a relationship like that, where you have to take a backseat to somebody else's personality, or you feel like who you are has to be compromised in order to make the other person happy, or you just tolerating somebody, you're in the wrong relationship. It's time to get out of that relationship because you see him just slowly being chipped away. Anytime he's around the men and he can't truly say how he feels about something, he is totally and absolutely being chipped away. Does he need to mature in certain areas? Absolutely, but it's the honeymoon. So you giddy and everything. You meeting this person for the first time, and I think that he's maybe possibly he could be trying too hard. But then when we look at Jephte, he's not trying at all. And one thing that Jephte said when they were leaving out of the hotel, because now they get ready to go back to real life. One thing that he said at the when they were at the desk checking out, he said, I noticed through this process that I'm not a communicator. I don't know how to communicate on this level. And I thought that that was very mature of him, even though everything else about him is a baby. He finally, the last night of the honeymoon, he decides to sleep in the same room with her. And, even though he decided to sleep in the same room with her, she wants to take it to another level and say, let's get in the bed. And I think that what she does not, Shawniece does not understand, is that he has boundaries and he has a wall up. And, just because he gives you an inch, it doesn't mean that you can take a mile. She's really going to have to back up and let this man slowly walk through it because, like I said he was attracted to her. When they talked about, moving in together, you know, he brought the situation up because, now it's time to talk about it. They've got to go back into real life. And when he brought the situation up to her, she immediately was like, well, where do you live? You said your roommate is moving out. And he's like, yeah, my roommate is moving out, but that doesn't mean you moving in, basically. And, it's like this girl is taking blows. And it's the same thing with John. It's like they taking blows and taking blows. And I don't know why Lifetime, the producers of this show, the doctors, don't do interracial couples. I don't know if they have a preference and they say, hey, I don't want to, date anybody, of another race. This is what I want. But it just seems like they're so mismatched. The way that Shawniece is, she would be perfect for John. They like to joke around. They like to play. Everything's lighthearted. They don't take life too seriously. They don't have any false pretense up right now. And they just would have been a perfect couple. And I really believe that Jephte and Molly, who take life seriously and want to go slow. Molly wants, that guy that's going to be the life of the party, but he's also going to be serious. When Jephte sat in the room, they had to ask each other questions. And one of the questions was, tell me something about yourself that I don't know. Instead of Shawniece saying something that was really serious or giving him some insight on who she really was, she chose to say out of her mouth, I'm a brat. Girl! No, boo. Here it is. You and this man have been sleeping the whole honeymoon in separate rooms. Not separate beds, separate rooms. The first night he comes into the room, you use the opportunity to say, I'm a brat. What the is wrong with you? No, tell him something that is meaningful, something he can ponder on, something he can chew on the airplane ride back home. You don't tell him I'm a brat. You tell him something about you that he really wants or needs to know. I am a kind and compassionate person. And I know I can understand her not wanting to let her guards down. And I understand her being frightened because this man is not showing her that she's wanted or needed. But at the same time, when you get that window of opportunity, that small window, you got to stick your head out and get some air, boo. Tell that man who you are. I'm the type of person when I commit, I commit. And when Jephte was given the opportunity to say what he wanted to say, he said, you know what? When I say when I'm playful, I'm playful, and when I'm serious, I'm serious. That's something that I could ponder, something I could think of or think about, chew on. What does he mean by that? That was enough. That would have been enough for me to intrigue me, to make me look at him differently. Something to make me pause and say, "La." And then they had to say a phrase. He said, say this, repeat this. I'm your husband, and I will be here for you. And, she was like, oh my God, that was so sweet. And he, went over to the other side. He's not used to that affection. He even said when they talked about being at the apartment that, they would be back, they're supposed to be back on Sunday. He said, you can come over on Monday. He just needs that air and that space. He's not used to living with anybody. Hell, I ain't either, except for my child. So that would be a major adjustment for me, no matter who I dated. And she chose to say, I'm your wife and I got your back. And at that time, you could see that there was a small hint of a connection. Just a small hint. Molly is she kind of done with John. She thinks he's the the playboy, the schoolboy, and he wants to do play all the games, and she believes that she's not taken seriously. And I can see that from John, and but I think that I think he's uncomfortable. And our girl Jackie at the end, she has a dinner with her boo, and he's reciting their vows again. Like something's off with him. Something's off with him. I just would always think this man is blowing smoke up my butt, and I don't like how it feels. Um, I think the experts this year got it wrong. I really believe they got it wrong. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm prepared for the worst. Because this girl Jacqueline wants him to be sincere. She says she's a color and all of that kind of stuff. Um, but she doesn't trust because she's still in love with a man who has passed away. And I don't know if any of them were really ready for this. And I'm looking at it thinking, what other couple, what other man or woman was really prepared for this? I think that Shawniece, out of all these people, was really prepared for this. And I think that John was. And that's why I think that they've made a mistake. Again, I don't know what the judges was thinking, but I'm looking at this and I'm saying, what the foolishness am I looking at? But because I missed last week and I didn't review last week, I wanted to make sure that I came out and did this one. I know it's short and it's sweet and it's not what you expect from Auntie. But this cotton freaking thing, we're going to have to do it live so that I get more involved in this. So next week, I'm going to come out and we're going to talk about Married at First Sight live and then Living Color. Because I think I need y'all energy. Because the show is draining me. Like it's really draining me. And I don't want it to, but I'm afraid that it is. So anyway, I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and share this video on all your social media platforms. Love you to pieces, and until next week. Bye-bye.